In this video, we're going to be learning how to play Cemetry Gates by the Smiths on guitar. We're going to break down all the parts of the song. I'm going to show you how to count them, the strumming patterns, and where to put accents and ghost strums. Some things to note before we get started. The song is in an open G tuning, and what this means is that the low E string is tuned down to a D, the A string to a G, the D string, the G string, and the B string remain the same, and then the high E string is also tuned down to a D. Although the song is in open G tuning, I'm still going to refer to the string names individually as if they were in standard tuning, just to avoid confusion. If you want to see a version of this lesson that includes on-screen tabs, chord diagrams, and strumming graphics and more, you can find that on my Patreon. In this video though, I'll include a preview of what that looks like for the beginning. So one thing about this song is it has these chord shapes that it moves up and down the neck, where you keep the same string fingering. Whenever you're changing chords, you're pretty much always sliding into the next chord, so you never really lift your fingers off the fret. You try to lift it as little as possible. It adds to the sense of momentum to all the chord changes that happen on the offbeats. So if you're looking at the tab, I didn't include ghost notes in there because I really wanted to make sure that the rhythm pattern is clearly expressed and you can clearly see it. And after that, once you get a feel for it, you can then fill in the rest of the space with ghost strums. Because strumming is such an important part of the song, before we get started, I quickly want to go over how to approach strumming in a song like this and how to interpret it and find the feel. It plays a big role in the groove and the rhythm of the song. A big part of that comes from chord changes on the offbeats and getting the patterns right and the feel of it with the accents in the right spots and ghost notes where you need them. And it really comes down to your right hand technique and turning your right hand into a timekeeper. So let's quickly go over the strumming approach and then what I mean by ghost notes and accents.
So when you're approaching a song that involves a lot of strumming and it's pretty syncopated, the first thing you want to do is figure out your strumming rhythm. For instance, for Cemetry Gates, it's 16th notes. So that means we're constantly strumming down and up, back and forth, down, up, down, up, down, up, in 16th notes. The down beats are always going to be on the ones and the ands, and the upstrokes are always going to be on the E and the uhs. 1 E and 2 E and keeping that in mind when you're playing a song like this where the strumming isn't always constant 16th notes and there are 8th notes involved, your right hand is still strumming them, like air strumming above the strings to help you keep your hand alternating and never losing that pattern. So it's 1 E and 2 E and, or if it's on the offbeat, 1 E, it's an 8th note, then you come back on the 1 E and So if you can keep that constant strumming back and forth, that'll help you keep time, is a good way of not getting lost in the song and knowing where to come in with those upbeats, and also keep it consistent so that everything's happening in the same spot with the pattern and it doesn't change on you. And it'll help you feel those upstrokes more. Once you get your right hand locked in where you're constantly strumming, even if you're not hitting the strings, then you can really begin to play around with ghost drums and accents. So this takes practice to be able to get to comfortable where you're not thinking about it. One exercise you could do to practice your strumming is to add 8th notes over top the strumming of 16th notes and adding in those 8th notes on the different degrees of the 16th note while making sure you never break that constant up-down strumming pattern. So just choose any chord you'd like. I'll just choose a G for this, a G open. And this is what it sounds like when you add them on the downbeats. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and when you add them on the E's, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and when you add the 8th notes to the ands, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and then when you add the 8th notes to the uhs, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so yeah, you just do that over and over again and at a speed where you feel comfortable and then build up the speed. And like I said, it's very important you never break that constant alternating up-down of your strumming. And then another exercise you could do is to practice adding accents to the different degrees of the 16th notes. So it could be 1 E and 2 E and or E, 1 E and 2 E and or the ands, 1 E and 2 E and or the uhs, 1 E and 2 E and or you could try two notes. How about the 1 and the 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. anytime you have accents, drawing out the contrast between the accented notes and the non-accented notes is almost always good. So if you explore different patterns like that or combinations, you're getting familiar with thinking about your hand movements on the different parts of the beat. And once you're really comfortable with your right hand and you can maintain that constant alternate strumming up, down, without changing it or thinking about it, you can then approach the spaces in between the strum notes to place ghost notes. And for a lot of the song that emphasizes these eighth note upbeats, you can place those ghost notes in between them and fill in the space, and it helps just keep the rhythm moving forward. But it only works if you can maintain that contrast between the ghosted note and the non-ghosted note. I'll just quickly show you a demonstration of how to approach ghost notes for each part. A good example of how to place those ghost notes is in the introduction. There's a bar that sounds like this. So there, in the spots where there wasn't constant strumming up and down, that's where you could fill in the space with some ghost notes. So it starts 1, E, and 2, E. Then after that E hit, you could put a ghost note on the and. Then after that you could put a ghost note on the downbeat of 3, E. Put a ghost note after that on the and 4, E, and you could also, if you want to, put a ghost note after that 4, E, and but I kind of like not having the ghost note there. There's no right or wrong way to approach it. It really comes down to a feel thing, which that could be annoying. I know someone saying it's feel when you're trying to learn the song. That's why in the video I provide suggestions about where you can place them. But if there's a part where I didn't provide a suggestion, that doesn't mean you can't put them there. It's essentially anywhere where there's eighth notes or breaks in the constant 16th note strumming, you can almost always put a ghost note there, as long as you can maintain the contrast and you don't lose the feel of the rhythm. So counting that out, it would sound like 1, E, and 2, E, and 3, E, and 4, E, and So that's how you approach the ghost notes, and you can apply that to most, if not all, the parts in the song. So throughout the lesson, I provide suggestions about where you can put the ghost notes, and I provide examples of playing them, but I don't go into breaking them down and counting them all out because that would take too long for the lesson. But I think with this explanation now, you'll be able to apply that to the other parts. All right, so here are how all the parts of the song sound together. This is how the introduction sounds. Add in the harmonics at the end. If you can do them good, I can't do them too cleanly. And I think he only does that in that clip of him performing the song. I don't believe on the record he does the harmonics there. But it sounds nice transitioning into the verse to include them. So the chords involved, we have the open G chord, and then we have this shape here, C chord, on the 5th fret of the A, D string, and the B string. Everything else is open. Then we move that shape up to the 7th fret. Then we have this other part where you fret the high E string, 4th fret, and it's all everything else is played open with it, which is also like a G chord. We also have another version of this shape on the 9th fret. but we just put our index finger down on the 8th fret of the B string instead of the 9th. And that way it keeps the chord in the key. All right, so here's how the part is counted. We have the open chord at the beginning, which is self-explanatory. So we get into this bit, which repeats twice. So we're going from the 5th fret to the 7th fret on the E of 2. 1 E and 2 E, and it's a slide. So we only strum that first note on the 2 E, and then we strum again on the and of 2, and then we lift off our fingers for the open strings for an upstroke on the of 2, and then we hold that for our 16th note, and then we fret the 4th fret of the high E string and come in on the E of 3, 3 E and 4, lift up for the and of 4, and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E, and strumming direction is then down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. Then lastly, to make the part complete, the cherry on top is those accents that really accentuate the strumming pattern and the rhythm behind it. And we're going to put accents on the 1, the 2, the of 2, the E of 3, and 4, and the and of 4. So it sounds like this. Okay, for the next part, which is a little tricky because it's fast, it sounds like this. For the counting, it's 1 E and 2, and then on the E we go to the 7th fret, E, and then on the duh we go to the 9th fret with our index finger on the 8th fret of the B string for the and then for the E of 3 we go back to the 7th, E, and then the of 3 and 4 we go back to the 5th, 4, and then for the and the of 4 it's open strings, and then the next bar is 5th fret, 1 E, and on the of 1 we move to the 7th fret, 2 E, then lift off your fingers for the and for the open strings. If you want to add the harmonics on the 12th fret, I'm still learning them myself, but you kind of barely touch the strings, just enough to dampen the sound when you strum, and then you lift off at the same time as you strum the chords, or the strings. A really light touch and it's kind of finicky. Let's just count it out again all together, those two bars. So it's 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. The strumming pattern is going to be down, up, down, up, down, up, 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 down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Then you add in the accents to sell the effect, which is on the 1, the 2, the E of 2, the of 2, the E of 3, and then 4. And then the second bar, it's on the 1, and it's on the of 1, and then it's on the and of 2. So it's... So you're pretty much highlighting those chord changes with an accent and also that upstroke rhythm with an accent. And this is a great spot where you could sprinkle in some ghost notes in between those upstrokes, for instance. You can only really use those ghost notes as long as you're emphasizing that contrast between the accents and the ghost notes, because you really want that up pattern to really come through. And if it doesn't come through and it gets muddy, then you kind of lose the effect. The intro altogether sounds like this. One day I'll get it on cue. All right, so let's move into the verse. So here's what the verse sounds like all together. That was fun. So it starts off with that awesome melody line that instantly hooked me and made me like the song immediately when I first heard it. So one thing you should note too with this part, if you're looking at the tab I have made, it's available on my Patreon. I didn't add open strings for all the strings, and that's just I didn't want to fill the whole tab lines with zeros. But you can play all the open strings. I believe Johnny does. I'll do the first two bars to start, and it sounds like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and all right, so we go on the 12th fret of the high E string, 1 E and 2 E, and on the and of 2 we let go of the string so it's open. And then for the of 2, we put our finger back on the 12th fret of the B string this time. 3 E and then for the 4, we move to the 10th fret of the same B string. 4 E and then on the 1, we go to the 12th fret of the G and the B string this time with the open strings. 1 E and then move to the 11th fret of the G string. 10th fret of the B string for the 2. Then we're going to pull off at the same time as we strum up for the E. And then on the of 2, we're going to bar the 5th fret with our index finger. 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and for the strumming pattern for the first 2 bars, it's going to be down, up, 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 down, up. For the accents for this part, we're going to do the 1, the 2, the of 2, and then the E of 3, and then the 4. And what you'll notice is throughout the song, the accents are always going to be pretty much around the same spots. And for the next bar, it's... Okay, so we're going to start where we left off on the 5th fret, barring all the strings. Except we're going to put our middle finger down on the 6th fret of the B string, and then our ring finger down on the 7th fret of the D string. And so we're going to play that on the 1. And then we're going to pull off for the E of 1. Play the and. Then we're going to play the 2. And we're going to hold this chord for the E of 2. And then on the and of 2, we're going to slide up to the 7th fret. And we're going to time it so we arrive at the sliding destination around the same time as we're strumming down on the and of 2. And that sounds like 2 E and. And then on the of 2, we're going to put our middle finger down on the 8th fret of the B string, and then we're going to put our ring finger down on the 9th fret of the D string. 2 E and then we let go of that, so we're just barring the 7th fret, and we're going to play the E of 3, 3 E and 4, and then we're going to let go of all the strings, and then play 2 open chords for the and the of 4. 4 E and all right, so counting that all together, it's going to sound like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and for the strumming pattern for this part, it's going to be down, down, up, down, down, up, 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 down, down, up. And the accents for this part are going to be on the 1, the of 1, the 2, the of 2, the E of 3, and 4. And this part, you could add in some of those ghost notes in between those upstrokes where we have the eighth notes. You could fill in the space and it sounds nice. So it'd be something like... That leads us into the next part, and it sounds like this. For that part, we play it 2 times. The first time brings us back to the beginning of the verse, which is that part. And the second time we play it, it leads us to the transition bars into the chorus. So we're starting on the 9th fret, and this is the same chord we use in the intro. So 9th fret A and D string, and then the 8th fret of the B string, everything else open. And then we move down to the 7th fret of the A, D, and B string with open strings in the middle, just like in the intro. And 5th fret, move that same shape, and then back to the 7th. And then the open string. There might be, the open string at the end. This is how we're going to count it. 1, E, and 2. Then on the E of 2, we slide to the 7th fret. 2, E, and then on the of 2, we slide to the 5th fret. 2, E, and we hold that for an 8th note, and then come back in on the E of 3. 3, E, and 4. On the 4, we slide up to the 7th fret. Then we play the E and the and. E, and. Then we lift off our fingers to play open strings for the And then for that slide from the 4 to the, I guess, like right before the E of the 4, we really want to make sure we could hear that slide between the chord strumming. So that's how we play it for the first time we encounter this part, and it leads us back to the beginning of the verse. But for the second time, which transitions us to the chorus, the only difference is on the of 4, rather than lifting off our fingers to get us back into position at the 12th fret for the repeat of the verse, we just stay on the 7th fret because that's where we start for the next bar. So that's 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and or if it's the second playthrough, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so for the strumming pattern, it's going to be down, up, down, up, down, up, 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 down, up, down, up, down, up. For the accents, we're going to put them on the 1, the 2, the E of 2, the of 2, the E of 3, and 4. All right, so for the next bar in the song, it sounds like this. We're going to start on the 7th fret where we left off, or we're going to strum down 1, and we're going to slide to the 5th fret on the E of 1, E. We're only strumming that first note of the slide. And then we're going to strum again on the and the of 1. 1 E and 2 E and on the of 2 we're going to slide to the 7th fret. 2 E and 3 E and 4. Then we lift off our fingers for the and. So all together, that sounds like 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So the starting pattern is going to be down, down, up, down, down, up, 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 down, down, up. We're going to have accents on the 1, the 2, the of 2, the E of 3, and 4. And the last bar before we enter in the chorus part, or the part I'm calling the chorus, this song's kind of got a weird structure. It's all open strings, and then the other chord is kind of like an A minor 7 on regular tuning. So you have the first fret of the B string, and then you have the second fret of the D string, and everything else is open. And you're going to go. So it's 1 E and 2 for the E of 2. Put the fingers down for that second chord there. E, and then lift it for the 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E the strumming pattern, that's down, up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up. And for the last part of that bar, we're at the end there where it's like. So you want to make those first two hits sound small, then big for the third one, then small again. So here's what the verse sounds like all together. That's how the chorus sounds. We have a new shape we haven't encountered yet, and it's going to be using our ring finger on the A string of the 4th fret, our pinky on the D string 4th fret, and then we're going to put our index finger on the 2nd fret of the G string while muting that low E. We ring everything else open, and we get this really nice B minor 7 chord. So the first bar is 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E. And it's like that for both times we play it, because we play those the 2 bars twice over with the slight variation that I'll get to. And it's that same chord shape, except on the last strum, on the of 4, we just lift off our fingers for an open strum. And for the second bar, it's going to be open strings for the 1, 1, and then on the E of 1, we're going to put our finger down on the 4th fret of the high E, E and 2 E, and then we're lifted up for the and 3, and then on the E of 3, put our finger down again, E and 4, and lift it, and so that's 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E, and the second time around on the last quarter note beat 4, we do the 4, and on the and of 4 we play it open. And counting those 2 bars together, it sounds like this: 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E, and then we go back to the B minor 7. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and okay, and then the strumming pattern is going to be down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. And then for the accents, we're going to put them on the 1, 2, and the of 2, the E of 3, and 4, which we've already experienced that before, so it's that same accent pattern. And this is where we could play the strumming quiet and tease it out. Ba, 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 ba. For this part. So for the accents are going to be on the E of 1, they're going to be on the 2, the E of 3, and the 4. And I love the accent pattern because it's a little different than what we've encountered, and it gives a nice call and response between these 2 chords for this part. All right, now we're moving on to the bridge, which is the last part of the song, I guess, aside from the outro, which is kind of like the intro, which we'll get to. Everything else just repeats what we've already covered. And the bridge sounds like this. This time it's pretty much the same shapes, except now there's a little difference. Rather than fretting the D string, we're fretting the G string, the same fret. So we're starting on the 5. And for this part, we kind of do that. Then we pop out our pinky to the 6th fret, and then we move it back to the 5th. Then we slide it to the 7th fret. We do the same thing, pop it out to the next fret over. In this case, it's the 8th, and then or the upbeat, and then we pop it back to the 7th to join the rest. Then here we go back to that same chord we did in the intro in the 9th fret, where it's the A string 9th fret, D string 9th fret, and then the B string 8th fret. Everything else is always open, keep in mind. And then after that, we move to the new shape again on the 10th fret. So the A string 10th fret, G string and B string 10th fret, everything else open. So this is how the bridge is counted. We're starting on the 5th fret, and it's going to be 1 E and 2 E, and then the of 2, we move our pinky out to the next fret over. 3, and on the E of 3, we move our finger back to the 5th fret. 3 E and 4 E, and on the of 4, we slide to the 7th fret. Now we're in the next bar, which starts in the 7th fret. 1 E and 2 E, and on the of 2, we put the pinky out again to the next fret. 3, and then for the E of 3, we move our pinky back. 3 E and 4 E, and the and the of 4, we move our fingers to the 9th fret. We can put our index finger down on the 8th fret, but we don't need to because we're just trying to get into position, really. We're sliding into position for the next bar. So that's 4 E, and now we're on the 9th fret for the 1, and it's counted like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E, and on the and of 4, we lift off our fingers, and we move to the 10th fret. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E, and then on the and of 4, we can lift off our fingers because now we're back to the beginning of the verse, so that might help us get into position better. So counting that part through all the way, it sounds like this. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and and the strumming pattern for this part is going to be down, down, up, down, down, up, 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 down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, 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 down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. The accents are the same in every bar, and it's that same pattern we've encountered before, where it's on the 1, the 2, the of 2, the E of 3, and 4. And that's where in that demonstration Mar did of him playing the song, when he transitions to the outro and he's playing that part that leads up to the chorus, that sounds like this. He changes it to add in the harmonics leading into the outro, where it sounds like this. All right, so let's just cover the outro really quickly. It's pretty much the same part as the intro. So I play the intro with the ring finger on the D string. And for the outro, I'll play it the other way with the ring finger on the G string. And it's the same strumming pattern. The only difference is on the 4, I added an extra note. And then in the Instagram clip, the way Mar ends the song, and you can also end the song too. You want to actually add an ending that is, because you can't fade out in real life. What Mar does in the Instagram clip is he plays this riff 3 times. That's how he ends it on the 4th time. And he adds in those harmonics again, which I think I'm getting better. And so that last bar there is just 1 E and da. So you're sliding and picking both notes. 1 E and da, 2 E and da. That's down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I'll get better someday at those harmonics.
So that concludes the lesson. I think we covered everything. I hope you found this lesson useful, and please let me know what you think in the comments or if there's anything I missed. If you liked the lesson or found it helpful, make sure to give it a like. If you want to see more Smiths related content, check out my channel. Also, I'd love to know if you found those on-screen graphics in the lesson useful for your learning process. It's something that takes quite a bit of time to put together. If you guys are finding it useful and helpful in learning the songs, then I'll gladly continue to make them. But otherwise, I think I'd rather put my energy and resources into something that's more constructive into helping y'all learn these great songs. So please let me know what you think of those on-screen graphics and if you find them helpful.